Haymaker Coffee Company was established in 2021 to create the best coffee to fuel the underdogs who perseveres, who hustles, and have the give-it-all mentality to achieve their American dream. Haymaker Coffee only roasts top quality, specialty grade coffee beans, resulting in brews that satisfies those who demand every drop from their coffee and day. If you work hard, run hard, fight hard, and play hard, we have your coffee right here. And we're back, Stripe Show Podcast on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for making us part of your day. We are coming at you on a Tuesday today. Of course, we are in the quote-unquote off-season of professional golf and very much the off-season for much of amateur golf across the country. I can see snow and lots of it in many states and cities across the country. The storm coming across from the west is going to hit us here in the next day or so. It's not going to snow here in Northeast Florida, but it is going to get chilly and down into the high 30s and low 40s at night. And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I like putting a jacket on. I like being cold a little bit once in a while. Now, I don't want to deal with the snow. I grew up in the snow in the Pacific Northwest. But I don't mind being a little chilly once in a while living here in Florida. But with it being the winter season, one of the things that I like to do is put together every year some winter training programs. And I've done that again with a company called golftrainingaids.com. And these two winter training programs are going to be launched. Now, I'm going to walk you through each one of these today, and I'm going to share some insight on these two training programs. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and play one video from each of these two mini training programs that I put together. One of the programs is on putting, utilizing the putting stick, which I'll show you. And the other one is some impact zone training in the full swing, which I'm really stoked about and I've been doing for many years and is very powerful for those who want to learn how to control the club shaft, the club head, the club face, educate the hands and arms, and get the body to support in small swing settings at home. It's a really good training program. I'm going to show you a video from that as well. Before we get to that, thank you for being here. We've had a great year. Thank you to all of my sponsors. Today's Stripe Show Podcast is being presented by the About Golf simulator behind me. And that simulator last night was the centerpiece of the best event that we've done in this studio to this point. This event was for the Wounded Warrior Project. And it was just a very impactful, emotional night here last night, having 20 warriors, former military, some family, some friends in here last night, having a great event around golf. And when I put this studio together, you know, I wanted to have a creation where I could do my lessons, PXG could do their private club fittings, we could do the after-school junior program, but have enough space to do impactful events just like we did last night with the Wounded Warrior. I love the military. I love doing things for the military. This year has been fantastic with my partnership, VyStar Credit Union, and the VyStar Moment each week, which I'm going to read another one to you here today before we get to the instruction. But just a couple thoughts last night on that event with the Wounded Warrior Project. There was two people in this room last night, two military veterans that have not been out of their house in over a year. They hadn't been out of their house in over a year. One gentleman was one of the funniest individuals that I think I've ever met. I mean, this guy, as the event went on, started to open up, started to have a good time. And I think for the first time in over a year, had a great time, put himself out there, laughed. And he tried golf for the first time. Never hit a golf ball in his life. Probably in his mid-50s, late 50s. And he got up and he says, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. So he gets into the simulator with me and I put a 9-iron in his hand. We go through the grip and we do this and we do that. And he takes a swing and he misses it. And he lets out this laugh that filled this room up. I mean, it filled this room up. It was one of those, moments where obviously he's vulnerable. He misses the ball completely, and he laughed, and this entire place laughed. And he gets in there again, and I'm showing him some things, and he takes another swing, and he whiffs it again. And the laugh comes back for the second time, and we're all laughing. And he's making fun of himself and this and that. And finally, we get some things, and he hits a great shot, and then he hits another one, and you could just see so many emotions starting to come out. He's laughing, he's smiling, he's having a great time. This is a guy that hasn't been at his house in a couple years. These military that come back and they struggle, and they struggle. And I didn't get into exactly what the struggle was, but you just knew that the impact of the night last night was very meaningful, not just for him, but for a lot of wounded warriors. And it was just an incredible night. And I just I wanted to share that story with you because, sometimes as you go through your life and you're like, man, I got this struggle and I got this struggle and this and that. And then you kind of take a step back. When you do events and you meet people like this, and you're like, really don't have it that bad. You really don't have it that bad. This week, the VyStar moment, as we continue down this terrific campaign of #HonorYourHero. This is a new one that came in from Nathaniel. I'm going to put this picture up here because Nathaniel is a young golfer. And there's his grandpa, Patrick Sherbach. And Nathaniel says, my grandfather served in Vietnam with the Seabees in 1969 and 1970, and later served with the U.S. Central Command in the Middle East and North Africa, to name a few. He's my hero. Nathaniel and his grandfather, his hero. Great picture right there. And that's your VyStar moment today. Thank you, VyStar, for an incredible campaign. Thank you for your partnership. Hopefully, we'll continue to do those. Go nominate your hero. Go to my website, travisfultongolf.com. Click on partners, click on VyStar, and you'll see #HonorYourHero. We've had a lot of just great entries. Reading through them all. We're going to continue to do that as we continue on here through the holidays. The Christmas season is here. And perhaps you are thinking about something to get yourself. Perhaps you're thinking about something to get a significant other, a friend, your dad, your mom, brother, whatever. And I've got 2 ideas for you, okay? I got 2 ideas for you. So go with me on this, all right? So here's your first idea. This is part of my winter training series that I've done with golftrainingaids.com. Golftrainingaids.com, #1 site for training aids. The first winter series that I have done is with this guy right here. I love this tool. Now, for those watching, you can see I'm putting up, it's called the putting stick. Okay, that's the putting stick right there. Now, I put together a training program for this. 3 short videos. Now, for those of you that know my training programs, and a lot of you do them on my website, travisfultongolf.com, there's 5 different programs there. The ones that I've done for golftrainingaid.com, they live on their site. Okay. And I did it in conjunction, and I wanted to utilize a tool, utilize a device that you could utilize at home. So I did this one, the putting stick. This putting stick is really good for a lot of reasons. One is it's going to help you line up, which I talk about, and how to use the lines on this stick to help train your eyes, the setup, how far to stand from the ball, form alignments, how to get that putter face looking down your intended line. I talk about a lot of those things. And then from there, I talk about how to utilize this from a putting stroke perspective, and how to kind of use it from this natural arc. And of course, get the blade to line up squarely so the ball rolls down this stick. That's the hard part, right? You put the ball over here, where my finger is, and this is a little mirror. It's very cool. You can see with your eyes. When you look down, you can see your eyes. And then when you roll the putt, it rolls down the stick. And if it's square, it'll go all the way. The ball's going to run all the way down. Okay, now if the face is open or if it's closed, it's going to veer off. And it may veer off right away, or it may veer off late. But you kind of work in progression a little longer putt to see if you can roll it down this stick. Kind of simple, right? Seems simple, but it's difficult. And when you can get it down and you can get the ball to start down your intended line and roll down this stick, I'm telling you, your starting line improves considerably. There's a lot of self-discovery that comes from a device like this. And what I wanted to do with the mini training program is I wanted to give the program some context with the first video, the setup, the second video, the putting stroke, and like what, is controlling the stroke. Is it your shoulders, your arms, your wrists? We talk about all of that and how to get that natural arc. And then the third video might be one of my favorites because I show you how to use the putting stick from a distance control standpoint. So you get the line, but then how to use this kind of like as a ruler, how far back and through the stroke is and what that means to the pacing of the stroke, whether it's accelerating or decelerating. How about that? Trivia question. Should the putter head be accelerating through impact, or should it be cruise control, maybe slightly decelerating? Talk about that in video 3. And just kind of length of stroke, pacing of stroke, and then how you use that for distance control. Okay. So I'm really proud of this. I've never done to this point a putting program. You wouldn't even find it on my site. I've done it for golftrainingaids.com. I did it for the putting stick. If you're looking for something to do this winter to help your putting and you don't want a complete overall, you want context, you want something that you can self-discover with, go to golftrainingaids.com, find the putting stick, type it in, putting stick, got different colors, red, green, and blue. I've got green and blue ones all over the place in here. And then when you get it, when you purchase it and they ship it to you, then they will open up the training program for you. 3 short videos. Watch it. In fact, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you the first one right here on the podcast. I'm going to give you the first one. Watch this first video. Great context on the setup. Go get the putting stick. Watch the next 2. Practice it at home. And then do me a favor. Send me an email, travis@travisholtongolf.com, of your putting stroke, and I'll give you some free feedback after you go through the program. When you buy it, use promo code Fulton20. Promo code Fulton20 gives you 20% off the putting stick. Great winter training program. Great gift for you or whoever you want to work on your putting this year. On that note, here's the first video. Check it out.
Video number 1, let's talk about the features of this putting stick, and particularly the alignment features that is going to help you get set up properly and roll that ball down that putting stick towards your intended line. Before we get to that, I want to share a few things about the setup itself with your putting stance. Now, there's a lot of flexibility, of course, with putting. You got to do what feels comfortable, but I'm going to give you a few things that have really worked for me 20 plus years to try to create an environment at address that is going to help you just be instinctive and move the path on the proper putter head with the face looking down the target line. Go ahead and move your feet about shoulder width, or maybe just inside shoulder width. And then from there, bring your hands up right in front of your chest here, palms together, elbows soft and kind of tucked underneath. Okay, so if you look from here, you'll see my elbows are soft, not out, but kind of tucked underneath. Now, from there, I want a little bit of hip hinge. Let your chest kind of get over it. And then just extend your arms just a touch where your hands are under your shoulder line. Not fully straight. Again, soft elbows towards the rib cage. And then move in towards the putting stick and get your eyes over that mirror. I love that mirror. I can see my eyes right on top of that target line. I like my eyes just inside, so I can see now just the bill of the cap. And when I do that, I feel my hands under my shoulders and I feel the weight right on the balls of my feet. Now, if I back up too much and I'm trying to get my eyes over that mirror, I feel top heavy, too much over my toes. We don't want that. If I get in too close, eyes over the mirror, now I feel like I'm too much on my heels. We don't want that. Try to find that proper distance with adequate hip hinge, chest over it, eyes looking straight down. Elbows soft, hands under the shoulder line. There it is. Weight in the center of the feet, eyes over the line or just inside of the line. Try not to get your eyes out over the line. Try to be on it or just inside. That's a good setup. I like that little routine. Then grab your putter and do the same thing. And what you'll find is when you go through this and you get all of that where you want it, and then you bring the putter in there, you may have to grip down a little bit. I like to grip down about a 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Some putters I see are too long. In fact, I'd say most putters I see for amateurs are too long. And when you go through this setup and you get everything in line, if you've got to grip down about an inch, 1.5 inches, try it out. See what happens. Don't cut it down though. When you cut it down, then you lose the headway. Just grip down as you go through this setup and see if it helps you out. Now, from there, let's get into the putting stick. A lot of cool features here. When I take the setup here with my putter and I set that putter face down, I can use the line of the putter face and point it right down the center line of that putting stick. It really matches things up towards my intended target. And of course, I've already set this up pointing at my intended target. Oftentimes when people use this and they start lining up that putter face right down that line and they look out there, they may feel like, wow, that feels different than when I'm on the golf course, which I like because it really starts to take feel and reel and it blends it together. Very important feature here. The other thing I like with the putting stick is that you can go ahead and sole the putter face down. You don't want to get too much on the heel or too much on the toe. It helps you get the putter face flat, looking down that line with this good setup. Elbows soft, eyes over just inside, weight in the center of the feet. Yeah, I feel good right there. That feels really, really good. Now you'll notice when you look down this target line, the last thing I'll say about the setup are my forearms relative to that putter shaft. Notice how my right forearm is on the same plane as that putter shaft. I see a lot of this. Okay, I see a lot of the right forearm too tall. Make sure you soften that. Again, elbow soft. I go left hand low, and when you go left hand low, it tends to soften the right elbow more. But if you go conventional, make sure that that trail hand is more to the side. Make sure that the forearms are matched up to that putter shaft like that. Don't get too much this way. To the side, and then from there, we can get everything toggled here, eyes over it just inside. Putter face looking right down the center. That may feel different to you, but I like this setup, utilizing the putting stick. Now, let's go to video number 2 and start talking about the stroke.
That's the first of 3. Some things to consider there about the setup. Now, I can tell you right now, the second video and the third video are even better yet. They're even better yet. I'm a big fan of when you do these little training programs. I think they apply to a lot of people because I don't think most are going to show up on a lesson tee and spend 100, 150, whatever it is for a lesson. Now, I do think they'll spend, 40, 50, 60, 70 maybe on something that allows them to kind of consume it at their pace, but gives them context and really an environment to self-discover with it. And that's what I try to do there with this program. Some context, self-discover. And then what does that mean to you? Send me a video and let me kind of steer you from there. Now, the second one I did is with this. This is a tool I've been using for 22 years in teaching. Okay. It's called the Impact Bag from Gary Wyron. golftrainingaids.com, Impact Bag. Promo code Fulton20. Don't forget it. Fulton20. Now, what you do is you take this, you get some wet towels, get some towels, dampen them a little bit, put them in here, and you'll see in the program how heavy I want it to be. But the impact bag is great because it allows you to kind of understand what's happening in the impact zone. When I was a director of instruction for the PGA Tour Academies, day one of a golf school, the club would never get above the hip. We would get the setup perfect. We would educate the hands and arms and get the pivot to support in small swings from here down. Now, what I did is I took what we've been having success with, or what I've been having success with and at the PGA Tour Academies for many, many years, is I kind of condensed it down again into 3 videos. and show you how to use the impact bag at home, and then show you how to take it to the range eventually, and the same with the putting stick, the putting green eventually, and how to apply it out there and hit balls. But the impact zone gives you the time, and I'm going to say this here, gives you the time to educate your hands and arms, okay? I say that from time to time, and I'll say it again. When you watch this training program, educate your hands and arms at home. I want you to be able to assemble it halfway back, deliver it to the impact bag, and then I show you how to sustain it with the impact bag over to post impact, okay? And the club never gets above the hips. I love this type of training. I really do. I love it. Impact zone training, utilizing the impact zone and utilizing the impact bag, excuse me. The first video, we talk a lot about just how to get it on plane going back halfway, get the face square, get the wrists assembled, arms and hand structure, and then from there, how to deliver it to the back. And what that means in the way of shaftling, what that means in the way of a descending club hit, what that means in the way of controlling the face, educating the hands and arms, small swings. Video 2, we learn how to then take that to the low point. Where is the low point? Where the low point should be in the swing arc. We talk about the low point not being the ball, but past the ball, really more adjacent to the outside of your lead shoulder, and how those things line up. And then how to sustain those alignments to post impact and turn and use your pivot to move the bat rather than throw it. If you're a player who throws it, who scoops it, who comes out to in and/or all of the above, this is great for you. This is great for you. I can tell you right now, I have had so much success educating hands and arms, here to here, low point, sustaining it over to post impact, which we get to in video 3, and then we start hitting balls and how to take a divot ahead of the ball, how the body supports those things. And as you get that down from waist high down with a wedge, 9-iron, how that then can build into bigger swings. It's an excellent way to train. I'm telling you. Excellent way to train. If you like my stuff, go to golftrainingaids.com, click impact bag, yellow bag, promo code Fulton20. When you get the bag and you put Fulton20 in, mini training program opens up. 3 videos. Some of my best work. I'm not kidding you. Some of my best work. You're going to love it. It's my only putting one I've done. And it's the only little mini impact zone training program that I've done. And I did it in conjunction with golftrainingaids.com. And I wanted to have a device with it so you could use it at home, do it slow. And then eventually, when the winter kind of goes away, hopefully it's going to be in early spring, then we start taking it out to the course. All right. So that's that. Those are my 2 training programs. I'm going to show you here to finish up today's podcast. Video number 1 of the impact zone training. Because I love you guys. I appreciate you being here. I'm giving you the first one for free. And I would love for you to go get those devices, watch the other ones, and then video yourself doing it and email it to me at Travis at travisfultongolf.com. All right, here it comes. Video number 1, impact zone training. Check it out.
All right, let's get into some training here. Video number 1, we're going to talk about how to move the club halfway back, getting this club right on plane, getting the face square, and then from there, how to start achieving a perfect impact position. No ball, just you, a pitching wedge, and the impact bag at home, training from here to here. Now, as we do this, we're going to talk about club face angle. We're going to talk about the club shaft. We're going to talk about the club head, and then also your body. How is your body moving, of course, to support all of that through the impact position. Now, first things first, the club face. The club face is the king of the golf swing. We're going to get your grip, and what we're going to do is we're going to just take it halfway back here where the club shaft's parallel to the ground, just like this, and the angle of the face, very important. The angle of the face, you can see the toe is just slightly down. The toe here, the end of it's curled down. The angle of that face is running roughly parallel to my spine. Now, I see a lot of you at the face angle. You start to rotate that face too much, and that face gets too much toe up or pointing behind you. Don't do that. You can see that face open. It's going to be very difficult to get into a good impact position with that club shaft because that club face is going to want to stay open. We'll get to that here in a second. So we're going to take it halfway back, club face nice and square, and then from there we can take that and turn it, and it's going to be much easier for the face to be square at impact. Now, let's talk about the club shaft. Notice the club shaft, the shaft is pretty much parallel to the ground and it's parallel to my toe line. So you can see how I'm taking it here, again, just halfway, parallel to the toe line, toe slightly down, that's perfect. Now, of course, so many of you, the club head gets in here. All right, that club head gets too far in behind you, and then it's very difficult to bring it back down that same plane. It's too much from the inside, so usually we start coming over the top. So, face on, halfway back, shaft parallel, toe slightly down, right wrist, right elbow bent. You can see I'm starting to assemble this wrist. It's bent back into extension. The right elbow is folding. Okay, it's not retracting behind me, but it's folding like a door, right wrist bent, right elbow bent. The left wrist, you'll notice, is pretty flat. That left wrist hasn't done a whole lot. It may start to hinge a little bit, but that left wrist still pretty passive, keeping the shaft and the lead arm in line as that right wrist, right elbow starts to fold. You'll notice how my shoulders are just turning with that. Halfway, I call this position number one, club shaft parallel to the ground, toe of the club slightly down. Now, let's start taking these angles to impact. And you'll notice with the impact bag, I'm going to position the back of the bag here in video one, pretty much right in the middle of my stance. Okay, I'm using, once again, a pitching wedge, middle of the stance, just a slight tilt so the head's behind it, and then we're going to go to impact. And when we go to impact, the first thing we're going to notice here is that right wrist, right elbow is still bent. Okay, I didn't take those angles and throw it out. I just took it from here to here. Okay, and when I do that, of course, now the shaft is forward. Now, so many of you, you're going to take that and throw it out. And usually that happens for a reason, but just for the sake of training this impact position in these small swings, let's keep that right wrist, right elbow bent. Okay, right wrist, right elbow bent, shafts forward. Club head's going to want to be moving down, and you'll notice that club face is lining up flush to that bag, and that club face is going to be more of a function of my left hand. So halfway back, that face square, it's going to be easy now when I go to impact for that face to be square, to feel the back of that left hand swiveling and squaring that up to there. Okay, so I want you to do that a few times. Halfway, impact, shaft forward, club head moving down, left wrist, squaring up that face, not open, square. Now, as you do that, you'll notice your body starts to support. Look at my weight moving left, my hips turning, my head a little bit behind the ball. If I held that, boy, my left glute's starting to scream a little bit, starting to feel that. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. We want that glute to take on that weight over here, to take on that rotation in the hips, to take on a little bit of side bend here to the right. My head's behind it. Don't be over here, be here. Good checkpoint, Aaron to the right heel. Let's go one time from here. Here it is. Boom. Can you do that? Can you control from halfway position one, impact, right wrist bent, right elbow bent, left wrist flat, shafts forward, club head's moving down, face is square. My weight's into my left side, I'm turning, head's behind Aaron to the right heel. Video number one, train that at home with your impact bag. Perfect that. And we're on our way.
PXG has done it again with the launch of a new lineup of drivers, fairways, hybrids, and irons. The new Gen 5 golf clubs deliver significantly increased MOI, faster ball speeds, longer distances, and tighter dispersions, all coupled with the exceptional feel and sound golfers have come to expect from PXG. Schedule your custom fitting or buy online at pxg.com.